This week on HBO's Inside the NFL. Marcus Allen's 37-year-old legs spurred the Chiefs to their fourth straight win. John Elway's 37-year-old arm made a miraculous comeback from an injury. He's off to his best start ever. Joining us on NFL Crosstalk will be the NFC's only undefeated starting quarterback, Tampa Bay's Trent Dilfer. And we look back at former Eagle Tom Brookshire, once TV's #1 football commentator. The show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, with your hosts Len Dawson, Nick Bonacati, Chris Collinsworth, and Jerry Glanville.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show, and what an exciting week it looks like in the National Football League when I take a look at the matchups. But, gentlemen, it's already been a big week for our friend Nick Bonacati. This week in New York, the 12th annual Great Sports Legends Dinner took place, and the purpose of this dinner is to raise money for the Miami Project. And you did an outstanding job. Almost $1.5 million raised. Congratulations.
But, you know, he raises that kind of money every year. He's a machine, this guy. But the big news, my man is on the cover of the Wheaties box along with Mark right there. That's strong.
Well, I didn't get on that box because I'm part of the undefeated team, that's for sure. But something much more important, that's because General Mills and their CEO, Steve Sanger, has joined hands with the Miami Project because they, too, want to find a cure for spinal cord injury. Chris, you're going to be able to buy that box in the supermarket.
This box right here, buy it all over the country right here, Wheaties. There we go.
Well,
Look for that guy.
You know, last Sunday I'm watching television and I see Don Beebe from the Green Bay Packers laid out there with nothing moving, and it brings back to how dangerous this game is and how important your research is. Thank God he was okay.
Absolutely. I thought the very same thing. You know, speaking of that particular game, Detroit beat the Green Bay Packers, meaning the Packers' record now 3-2. Hardly the position most experts thought they would be in this time of the year. Everybody thought this is going to be the best team in the National Football League, but my question to you guys, who is the best team?
Well, I've changed my mind about 5 times already during the course of the season, but right now I'm on San Francisco. After watching that game against Carolina the other night, Steve Young at quarterback, the great defense, and now they can run the football. They've gone big on that offensive line. They used to always have those small, mobile guys, but now it's Kevin Gogan and Ray Brown. They're blowing people off the football.
San Francisco. It's obvious you weren't at the game. I saw Tampa Bay handle San Francisco. I saw them just knock them all around and physically whip them. And you got to look at what does it take to win? You got to be able to run the football. All stat and done, the best there is. You look at the defense against the rush, Tampa Bay's #1 in the National Football League. Tampa Bay's the #1 team in
this
football.
tape. I want
Excuse me. Who did you pick to win the Super Bowl? I thought
Dallas.
it was the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, and they're being carried by their defense. I never thought I would say that, but just wait till Troy Aikman, to Anthony Miller, and Michael Irvin get going. That offensive line wakes up. They're going to be there at the end.
I don't know. Troy Aikman might not be at the end if they can't pick up the blitzes. I'll tell you who's going to be #1 after Monday Night Football. That's because it's going to be New England traveling to Denver, both undefeated, both have outstanding quarterbacks, explosive offenses, and solid defenses. So late Monday night, I'll tell you who's going to be #1. Chris mentioned he liked what he saw from the 49ers game last Monday night. Let's show you the very impressive San Francisco victory.
Young grasshopper, you have much to learn. Perhaps you had too much success too quickly.
Here's a pass to the goal line. Caught, pulled at the 1. Touchdown.
Now it was time to learn from the master, Steve Young.
To the left side of the end zone. There's pushing on Owens, and he caught the ball anyhow. Touchdown 49ers.
The master threw for 1 touchdown, and he and his fellows ran for 3 on their way to over 200 yards rushing.
He'll go into the corner of the end zone to put the game away. Touchdown 49ers.
Buddha works in mysterious ways, for the master is led by a young grasshopper, Steve Mariucci, who has won his last 4 games. can the Lions climb before they begin their annual collapse? Normally, Brett Favre plays out of his head, but last Sunday you just had to wonder what he was thinking.
The line of scrimmage, here's Brett Favre. He slipped, now fires, intercepted. On the ground, it'll be a touchdown Detroit. With the ball running for the touchdown, Reggie Brown. Brett's a never say die guy, but sometimes you gotta say die.
For the first time in memory, it was the inspired play of Detroit's defense that controlled the game as Green Bay self-destructed with 4 turnovers. Offensively, the Lions have, well, Barry.
Out of the eye, it is Barry. Squeaks through 40, 30, off to the races. Barry's ability to accelerate. To the 20, to the 10, to the 5, and he is hauled down from behind.
Sanders rushed for 139 yards and helped set up Scott Mitchell's only touchdown pass. Detroit improved to 3-2 with an impressive win against last year's champions and proved that this year they just may be contenders. At the big sombrero, Hardy Nickerson wears the hat of defensive team leader.
Close right! Close right!
Hold up now, hold up. Hey, hold up, get your hands off me. Animal! Just an animal!
When animals attack, the result can be devastating. Al Singleton's block and return for a score put Tampa Bay up 6-0. No, they didn't. In the second quarter, the special teams came through again as the Buccaneers boldly opted to go for a fake punt on 4th down. Punter Tommy Barnhart's perfect pass to Tony Bowie went for 25 yards and kept alive Tampa's drive to their first offensive touchdown of the day.
Here's Dilfer dropping. Quick slant. Caught! Touchdown! Tampa Bay! Reidel Anthony!
Trent Dilfer was not the only promising young quarterback on the field as Cardinals quarterback Kent Graham's strike to Rob Moore quickly cut the deficit to 12-7.
He fires it into the end zone. Is caught for the touchdown by Rob Moore. He scores.
Arizona's defense would give them the lead.
Here's Dilfer throwing near side, intercepted on the near side by Aeneas Williams, and he's going to take it in and score. Down the sidelines, he's in there.
Aeneas Williams, perfect pick. Dilfer didn't even see it.
Fourth quarter, man, let's go. Whatever.
I'll be back.
Whatever. Bring the funk, baby, bring the funk.
And Dilfer brought the noise with a perfect pass to Carl Williams.
29-20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Carl Williams, touchdown Tampa Bay.
It's Carl Williams. Great job slipping underneath. No one anywhere near. You've got a bus back there, and Carl walks in.
Let's finish now. Let's finish. We got to make sure we're on the same page.
Okay.
The Cardinals were looking to close the book on Tampa Bay as down 19-18 with time running out. Graham needed to get his team into field goal range for a chance to win. His connection with Frank Sanders would do just that. Graham ended up with over 330 yards passing, a heroic effort against one of the league's best defenses. Sanders' spectacular 37-yard catch and carry set up Cardinals kicker Kevin Butler for a 47-yard field goal attempt.
Here's the snap. Good spot. Kick airborne. Airborne. It is no good. Wide right. Fox win. It's over.
A hard-fought number 5, baby. That's what it's all about. Bring on the Packers. Bring on the Packers.
You got to win some games like this to win championships. Okay, we weren't on. We made some mistakes. We had the lead, lost it. But the thing we did, we played 60 minutes. And that's what champions do. 1, 2, 3. Get back!
Well, joining us now on NFL Crosstalk is one of the top-rated quarterbacks in the National Football League, Tampa Bay's Trent Dilfer. And Trent, we just saw Tony Dungy's fiery post-game speech in the locker room. Does the guy ever get excited about anything?
The one time I've seen him get excited was when a couple of guys got into a scuffle at practice, and that's about as excited as I've seen him get, and he wasn't excited for the right reasons that particular day.
Well, he has to be excited about what you've done so far this season. 10 touchdown passes and 3 interceptions. The beginning of your career, not quite that good. Was there ever a point in time that you said, I'm not sure I can play in this league?
No, I never doubted myself. I was frustrated, obviously, and I was disappointed that I wasn't being as productive as I thought I was going to be. But I always believed that I had what it took to be good in this league. I think the biggest thing for me was the emotional step. I don't think I was ready for to be able to control my emotions at the NFL level. And once I got that under attack, or am trying to get that under attack, I've had more success.
Trent, under Sam Wyche, which was your first 2 years, it looked like you had sort of cobwebs on your brain and you weren't really picking up the NFL system. But Tony Dungy seemed to come in and really saw the light at the end of the tunnel. What was the difference between the two coaches?
Well, you know, it's two totally different approaches. I think that we could have been successful under Sam. I don't think we necessarily had the right group of people here at the time, and we had a young quarterback that didn't really give the team the best chance of winning. And you know, I think I handled a lot of situations under Sam not as well as I would have liked. And when Tony came in, I think it was a wake-up call to a lot of us, especially myself. It was a different way of approaching things, and especially a different way of approaching me. And I learned some hard lessons last year, but they're lessons that are valuable, and I think they're helping myself play better football and this team play better football.
Trent, talk about what it's like coming out of college. You had so much success in high school, and then in college you're a star player. Then you come in the NFL as a young player and really struggle. What is it like on a personal basis to have to go through the pressure cooker of the NFL?
Well, that's a great question, because I really attribute to a lot of my failures in the NFL to the successes I had in high school and college. And I'll tell you what I mean by that is I never, ever once in college really had to deal with any major adversity in a football game or in my career. Everything was kind of handed to me. The starting job when I was a freshman, everything was kind of built around me. We never really struggled offensively. We led the nation in offense almost every single year I was there. It was pretty easy, and the same thing in high school. When I got to the NFL, I just expected that that's how it was going to be for me. I was always a big fish in a little pond, and I suddenly became a little fish in a big pond, and I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to handle bad throws, interceptions, losing game after game after game. I wasn't ready for the speed of the game. I wasn't ready for a lot of things that happened in the NFL, and I attribute a lot of that because I never really had to deal with those things in college.
This week, Trent Dilfer against Brett Favre. Now that's perceived as a good matchup.
I've learned a lot from Brett. I've watched Brett very closely in his career, and I've learned a lot from him, and in some ways try to emulate my career around his. And I'm just excited. Lambeau Field, in my opinion, is the greatest place to play a football game. It's one of the better experiences there are in this world for a football player, and I just can't wait to get up there and play in front of those fans and in that environment.
Well, congratulations on your great start, and good luck this week.
Thank you very much.
Well, Lenny, just another smooth-talking quarterback in the NFL.
Well, all quarterbacks are smooth-talking during the week. It's on Sunday where we have our problems. Jerry, let's talk about this game. Tampa Bay 5-0. You know, 5 of the last 10 teams have gone 5-0, have made it to the Super Bowl. Their problem is they're going to Lambeau Field, where at Lambeau Field the last 18 games, the Packers have won. And the Packers is an important game for them because if they lose, they're 3 behind Tampa Bay in the division.
Well, the Packers know if they want to win this football game, they have to stop the Tampa Bay running attack. And any National Football League team can stop one thing. But what Tampa Bay's got to do is put Jackie Harris, the ex-Packer tight end, into the passing game, throw the short routes to Jackie Harris. Big surprise against the Packers. Tampa Bay wins in Green Bay.
No, Tampa Bay is not going to win in Green Bay. It's going to be the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Packers have had all kind of injury problems. The last one, offensive tackle John Michaels, he is out. But the good news is this, that the Packers are getting some of their people back. Seth Joyner will join the defense. And the most important player for a quarterback is that offensive center. And Frank Winters is returning for the Packers. I look for this game to get down to a battle between the 2 quarterbacks. And I like Brett Favre's chances of winning. So I like the Green Bay Packers. Let's go over and find out what Chris and Nick think about it.
Well, Nick, you know, Brett Favre has really been trying to do too much the last couple of weeks. He's really been trying to carry this team on his shoulders. He needs to get back to what he's been doing the last couple of years when he was the MVP. But this week he gets a chance to go up against a very inexperienced secondary of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially without Anthony Parker. And I'm assuming he's not going to be able to play because of that bad hamstring. Too young back there to handle this bunch offensively. I like Green Bay.
You know, Chris, if you look at the game statistically, Tampa Bay's got to win it hands down. Look at that giveaway takeaway. Tampa Bay has +3, Green Bay -6. Quarterback rating, I never thought I would say this. Brett Favre with an 83 rating and Trent Dilfer with almost 100. And look at the defense. Tampa Bay, 18 sacks already. You got Culpepper and Warren Sapp having 8 between them. I don't see Gilbert Brown or Reggie White anywhere there. But the irrefutable...
I knew the butt was coming. I was wondering when the butt was coming.
The irrefutable statistic is... Green Bay has won 18 in a row in Lambeau Field. This will be number 19.
I figured there was a butt coming. Well, Tampa Bay is starting to get some national attention now, even with Nick Buoniconti, but they still have a long way to go to become America's team.
While Deion Sanders now looks to the heavens for divine inspiration, the winless Chicago Bears searched for some answers of their own last week by blitzing the Cowboys repeatedly, sometimes with both safeties. As expected, Troy Aikman made them pay.
Here comes a blitz again, and Aikman a quick slant to Irvin, caught at the 15, to the 10, to the 5. He's going to score. Touchdown. There you have it, babe.
They come with the blitz, and we talked about it. You miss a tackle, and it's a touchdown, and it was this time.
The Bears were simply no match for the Cowboys' passing game or the primetime razzle-dazzle of the Dallas special teams.
Here's the punt. Goes to Deion Sanders back at the 17. He outruns some coverage to the 30. Gets open at the 40. He may run this back at the 50. He's at the 40, to the 30. He's going to score. Sanders with the ball up in the air. Gets an 83-yard punt return. And on the sprint, he catches the ball and outruns 3 defenders. Gives the Dallas Cowboys their first punt return for a touchdown this season.
While Deion's dash put Dallas in a first-place tie, Jim Fossil's Giants were looking to get out of the Eastern Division basement.
Let's get ready to play football. Let's go play football. Let's get ready to play football. Hey, man, get after their ass, man. I'm counting on you. Get after their ass the whole time.
After 3 straight losses, New York needed to get well at the expense of the visiting Saints. And Big Blue's defense certainly seemed ready to hold up its end of the bargain.
Hey, great job, Hammer. That's way to play football, man. Nice job. Good job, defense. Good job.
The same could not be said of the Giants' attack, which sputtered and wheezed through most of the first quarter.
Hey, now listen. We just started this football game, man. I want some guys to calm down a little bit, okay? I don't want anybody losing their composure. I don't want anybody just going, oh, what the hell's going on here? We're going to go right back at them. Hey, stay in front of them. Don't lunge. That maybe got you in trouble. Be a smart football team. Let's get in and out of the huddle. Let's start with Falcon right, 374 Sally. Hey, when you work that left now, hey, smooth it and come over the top to him. Give it to him. Put it right on him.
Brown takes the snap, looks left, keeps one down the left side, looking for a receiver. Touchdown! Kevin Alexander with an over-the-shoulder catch.
That it, baby. Nice shot. That a way to go. Would you rather just stay and lock it and work your cross and slide?
They're pretty wide in the center. Not getting moved.
You think you can get down the hole on it? Okay. Here we go, Dave. Spin it, baby.
clock at 9. Brown from a shotgun takes a high snap, blitz on to the corner of the end zone. Touchdown, Callaway! Oh, it wasn't a pretty throw.
He came open fast, man. Nice job. Way to put it underneath there. Get him going. Hey, I'm going to pack you the ball now, and I want to, you know what I mean? I want to see you run. I want you to run over people.
Brown gives for Wheatley. Running right to the 40. Dives to the 47, and he's got a first down. Extra effort by Wheatley.
With Tyrone Wheatley's clock-consuming runs, the Giants hung on for their second win of the season.
It was a good win. Boy, it was nice to get that one at the end there like that. And Tyrone running the ball. Defense played great.
Ex-Giants coach Dan Reeves hoped to get Atlanta's first win of '97 against his other former team, the Denver Broncos. But Shannon Sharp's courteous pregame behavior turned downright nasty towards his old boss once the whistle sounded.
Elway's going to go deep, right across the middle. He's got his man. It is Shannon Sharp. 5-yard line. Touchdown, Denver.
John Elway's 3 scoring tosses moved him to 5th place on the all-time list for career touchdown passes. And when the offensive line wasn't protecting the Bronco quarterback, blockers like number 77 tackle Tony Jones were clearing wide sprinting lanes for Terrell Davis, the NFL's leading rusher. Denver won the game, but Jamal Anderson won the hearts of the remaining Georgia Dome fans with his spellbinding 4th quarter touchdown.
Tolliver. Blitz on. Tolliver fading, throwing. Complete to Anderson. Jamal at the 40, at the 35, at the 30. Jamal rumbling at the 20. Broken tackle. 10, 5. Touchdown, Jamal Anderson. What a run.
Despite Anderson's pyrotechnics, Dan Reeves' Falcons are still winless, while the Broncos remain one of only 3 unbeaten teams still left in the NFL. Coming up on Inside the NFL, Kansas City goes down to the wire with the Seahawks, and a profile on Tom Brookshire, football's top commentator before John Madden.
One of the biggest games of the year will take place on Monday night in Mile High Stadium when the Broncos host the New England Patriots. We'll get a chance to talk about that game in a couple of minutes, but first, Nicole Watson has this profile on Broncos quarterback John Elway.
It seems hard to believe he's in his 15th NFL season, and even harder still to believe he's 37 years old. But the Denver Broncos' John Elway has reached both of those milestones and plays as if he's in the prime of his career. While a preseason ruptured tendon in his throwing arm had all of Denver holding its collective breath, it was nothing more than a bump in the road for the man who seems to drink his sideline Gatorade from the fountain of youth.
When I'm walking off the field in Mexico going, my career flashed in front of my eyes. I didn't know if I was done or not. They had told me when I had surgery in the offseason that there was a chance that it could rupture. And you know, I was hoping that at some point in time it would rupture because I knew it wasn't getting any better the way it was. Hoping that if it did rupture that it would feel better. And no way I thought it'd feel as good as it has since it's ruptured and ease that pain that I've got in my shoulder to where, you know, it's fun to throw a football again. And you know, I'm probably throwing the ball better than I've ever thrown it. And which is exciting, but you know, I'm a little apprehensive about it too because no one's ever had this before, and I'm just kind of taking it one game at a time, and hopefully that nothing else goes wrong with it.
Had everybody around here a little shook up. They didn't know if we operate, do we mess up his career? If we don't, is he going to be able to come back in, you know, 3-4 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks, and they just let him rest. And, you know, 5 days later, he's throwing the football harder than he has in the past 3 years. And I think it's a miracle.
The bicep itself for a quarterback really doesn't need it other than to, you know, flex his arm. I mean, to throw like a quarterback throws, you really don't need the bicep like a baseball pitcher might.
There are no long-term effects from the torn tendon once thought to be so threatening. Aside from a disfigured right bicep, the injury is behind him. Last Sunday, Elway had a chance to put his first meeting against former head coach Dan Reeves behind him, gaining a victory in the process.
Sure, there was a little added incentive because, Dan was here a long time, and I played for Dan. We had a lot of great times. We won a lot of football games, but I think that, the way the separation went about, that sure, there was a little bit more motivation.
This week, Elway's extra motivation comes via a Monday night matchup with the Patriots and their young phenom, Drew Bledsoe. Bledsoe is one of the young guns waiting to receive the torch from Elway. It may be a while.
I think he's playing right now as good as I've ever seen him play. He's still elusive. You can still get away from pressure just like he did against Atlanta and make a 20, 25-yard run. But it's tough. I think there's a lot of, it's tough on a quarterback when you're 36, 37, 38 years old to have that type of dedication in the offseason. But he's always been that way, so if he keeps doing that, I think he can play as long as he wants.
If the numbers are any indication, Elway may plan on playing quite a while. The past 4 seasons have yielded his 4 highest quarterback ratings and 93 touchdown passes. While the numbers are nice, it's last year's first-round playoff loss to Jacksonville, which helps him keep perspective.
It was a huge disappointment. So as we sit here now, yeah, we're 5-0, but I also realize that, boy, we got such a long way to go. And, things look good now, but I'd much rather have things looking good the 15th game of the year than looking great the 5th game of the year.
Last year's playoff loss aside, now close to 40, Elway continues to confound defenses, defy the odds, and perhaps most impressively, fight a spirited battle with Father Time.
I know as soon as I retire, I'll be young again, or I'll be middle-aged. But yeah, I'm old for my profession, but I'm just glad that I'm able to still continue to play, and I still enjoy it. So as long as I can continue to stay out of those big guys' way, I'll be all right. As long as I can keep ticking. Like a Timex, I guess.
If he can tick his way to that elusive Super Bowl victory, he may be remembered as much for his comeback victory over a ruptured bicep tendon as for any of his 40-plus fourth-quarter comebacks.
John Elway is amazing. You know something? When the other quarterbacks in the league see that piece, they're going to say, how can I rupture my tendon so I can throw like that guy? 37 years old, Nick. He could play well into his 40s if he wanted to, but I don't think money is the big deal.
Oh, no. John has piles of money. By the way, Wayne Huizinga, the owner of the Dolphins, also owns a company called Republic Industries, which owns over 100 auto dealerships throughout the country. Guess what he wanted to do?
What does he want?
He wanted to write, John, a big check for over $300 million. And John said, hey, Wayne, look, take a hike, but not in the Rockies.
I don't know if I think as much as Elway now. He threw that money down. Well, let's talk about this game. This is the game everybody has been waiting for. Monday night affair. The 4-0 Patriots going against the 5-0 Denver Broncos. Now, what do you have? You got outstanding players in both sides, offense and defense. Last year, you may recall, the team with the best record, the Denver Broncos, but they didn't go to the Super Bowl. New England did. Jerry, tell me about this game.
Well, listen, when they played each other last year, the Patriots have to be kicking themselves because on the very first series, they decided to fake a punt. Well, the punt didn't work, and it allowed Denver to get a lead, and they ended up getting hosed 34-8. I don't think there'll be any fake kicks from the Patriots.
Well, they're not going to have to fake kick because what they're going to do is run the football. They're going to run Curtis Martin often and early simply because if you look at the Denver defense, that's where they're weakest against the run. They're giving up almost 130 yards per ball game, and that's the vulnerability.
You hit it right on the key because it's almost unbelievable. Denver giving up almost 6 yards per carry, which is just off the charts in the National Football League. My only question, will Pete Carroll be patient enough and just keep giving the football to Curtis Martin? Remember, this is Monday Night Football. The world is watching. Drew Bledsoe against John Elway. I think it's going to be more of a shootout where they should be on the ground running the football.
It's not going to be a shootout as far as Shanahan is concerned because he is going to run Terrell Davis. It'd be crazy not to. The guy has 605 yards. He leads the league in that particular department. Now, as I look at this football game, the key for Denver and their defense is put some pressure on Bledsoe. He's only been sacked 3 times so far, but the good news for Denver is that Alfred Williams, who hurt his arm in preseason, almost at full strength. He had 2 sacks last week. I like the Denver Broncos.
Well, I like the Denver Broncos also, but I like them for one reason, their offensive line. Tony Jones, the offensive tackle they've got from Cleveland, and now they got Gary Zimmerman in there protecting for John Elway. Now he can go to Shannon Sharp, and I think this is the key. Shannon Sharp will beat William, the big play Clay, and Denver will win.
Well, let me tell you, the big play Clay Clay, yeah. Last year, the New England Patriots had 33 sacks for the entire season. Well, this year, in 4 games, 21 sacks. Henry Thomas came from Detroit, but a little linebacker with unbelievable quickness plays on the ground now like Nick used to, put his hand down. Teddy Bruschi will be the difference in the pass rush.
Are you saying Nick used to get knocked down a lot?
No. He's my hero. He's my hero.
All right, I got you. Well, this New England defense, though, they have allowed only 4 touchdowns the entire season, but they have not seen the likes of Terrell Davis and John Elway like the Denver Broncos.
You got knocked down, but you always got up again, though. That's the thing I liked about you. You know, the Patriots and the Broncos are the 2 highest scoring teams in the National Football League, but the Oakland Raiders know how to light up the scoreboard as well.
It is the great lesson of the Sony. Bang your head too hard and those yellow headphones fall off. The Raiders have enjoyed their rock and roll offense this season, but they've fallen in the second half, blowing 3 leads in 4 games. So on Sunday, they tried a different approach. They spotted the Rams, 14 points, then cranked up the offensive volume.
Jeff George gives the ball to Kaufman up the middle, hit at the line, stays on his feet, first down, 35, 40, he's going to go! Midfield, 40! Kaufman, one guy trying to catch him from behind, gets him at the 8-yard line!
Napoleon Kaufman ran for 162 yards, and Jeff George threw 2 touchdown passes to James Jett and 2 to Ricky Dudley, as the Raiders scored 28 unanswered points.
Fires down the field, caught by Dudley inside the 10, beats a man, Bond, touchdown!
With his new quarterback leading the NFL with 13 touchdown passes, Al Davis is rocking on to the beat of the Raiders' rejuvenated vertical offense. But in the NFL, you can't just win, baby, without perfect teamwork. A fact underscored by San Diego's Stan Humphries and Tony Martin.
On 4th down, caught by Martin at the 30, to the 20, runs to the middle of the field, on 10, touchdown, San Diego! They come out throwing on 4th and 2, and Tony Martin runs a post pattern, and he was open from here to Mission Bay. 36-yard catch and run by touchdown Tony.
Humphries collected 72 more of his career-best 358 passing yards with his second touchdown pass to Martin.
20, 10, touchdown San Diego!
The Ravens know a thing or two about big play offense as well. Baltimore grabbed a 17-14 third-quarter lead on Vinny Testaverde's 37-yard TD to Jermaine Lewis. But it was the Chargers' touchdown tandem who had the last word.
He's looking long, throwing deep. Tony Martin, touchdown San Diego!
Martin and Humphries' heroics gave the Chargers a chance to do that roof-raising dance with their second win. A porous Steelers defense has learned that if you let a quarterback do enough dancing in the pocket, he'll eventually find the holes in your secondary. So Pittsburgh blitzed defensive backs like Randy Fuller, number 29, to pressure Steve McNair.
Now reverses back to the right. Looking right is McNair. Blitz, loose football. Steelers pick it up, and they're on their way. Greg Lloyd, 45-50. Foot race to the 35-30. He's at the 20, and he fumbles the football. The Steelers pick it up. Gilden has it. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
And the guy who caused it all was Randy Fuller, who blitzed from the blind side. McNair never saw him coming. He smacked him on the back. The ball squirted loose. Lloyd gets it.
Pittsburgh's offense, led by Cordell Stewart, has also come alive. Slash's versatility has allowed them to convert an AFC best 75% of its drives inside the 20 into touchdowns. Stewart accounted for 3 touchdowns from the red zone, 2 with his legs and 1 with his arm to tight end Mark Bruner, who used every part of his body to make the catch. Stewart's counterpart threw 2 second-half touchdowns, 1 to tight end Frank Wycheck, but by then the game was out of reach. In their first meeting as opposing starters, it was Pittsburgh's young gun who walked away victorious. This week he'll lead the Steelers into Baltimore, while Air McNair takes off for Seattle. Having won 11 of their last 12 against Seattle, the Chiefs once again looked to drag the Seahawks around last Sunday.
Damn it, this is our house! Let's stand up
However, the Chiefs had their problems early on.
Get it, get it, get it!
Elvis Gerbach threw 3 first-half interceptions, and with the quarterback showing he still has a lot of growing to do, the Chiefs' offense hit the books for some new lesson plans.
Hey, I noticed. I studied this. Hey!
Warren Moon has also studied the game for a while, and he took Dale Carter and the Chiefs to school early on.
Shoulder, he holds it in. It's a touchdown, burning Dale Carter.
With their own passing game struggling, the Chiefs turned to the running of Marcus Allen, who scored twice to give his team the lead.
It's a tackle, touchdown, Kansas City. Marcus Allen. Roll it, roll it, roll it. Here we go, baby. Run!
Marcus Allen in the backfield. Richardson the fullback. Handoff. Marcus Allen. He dives. Touchdown, Kansas City. Marcus Allen. Second touchdown of the game. And rushing touchdown. 1-1-5.
The 37-year-old Allen and 40-year-old Moon helped their teams wage a back-and-forth battle.
Fires long up the right side. Got McKnight at the 25, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, James. Yes.
Hey, we got to make a play now. We got to step up. Front, we got to make a play.
With the score tied at 17 in the fourth quarter, a blitzing Chiefs defense finally got to Moon. As the game rolled into overtime, the frustrated Seahawks offense was looking for some new ideas.
When it's 3rd down and 1, tell me something we can run. Can you give me a suggestion, please? Do you have one? So we shouldn't run any then, huh? I ain't a player, but I know if there's a guy in a pass kick. Howard, what the hell?
With Seattle unable to move the ball in overtime, the Chiefs eventually got into position to win the game.
Snap is down. The kick is up by Stoyanovich. He swings his right leg through. It's perfect. It's perfect. Pete Stoyanovich has done it for Kansas City with a 41-yard field goal. Kansas City wins in overtime.
There is something to be learned forever from what goes on in this locker room and on that field, man. If you just go one step in front of the other, if you never look too far in front to the destination, but take one more step, one day you will be where you want to be. That's a hell of a damn job.
This week, Marty Schottenheimer will take his Chiefs to Miami to take on the Dolphins, and they should look ahead, because if they look back, they'll find out they've lost 5 in a row to Miami in Miami.
Well, last week, Joey Galloway looked back and saw Dale Carter running behind him as he ran off to the end zone. Kansas City awfully young at that safety position. Reggie Tongue, Jerome Woods. You've just got to believe that Dan Marino is going to be able to find some holes back there. Plus, Jimmy Johnson with 2 weeks to get ready. I like the Dolphins.
Jimmy Johnson with 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Jimmy Johnson needs 2 years. He's got to be sick. This is not a Jimmy Johnson football team. He's last in rushing offense, and they're giving up 4.5 yards a rush against him. They can't win that way. Elvis will be king. Kansas City wins.
2 weeks.
What are you screaming about the running game? Neither team has a running game. Jabbar hasn't run this year. And look at last week. Greg Hill put on the bench. Who bailed him out? Marcus Allen, 37 years old with 2 touchdowns. If this game is going to be won, it's going to be won through the air. And guess what? Elvis is not king in Miami. Dan Marino is, and the Dolphins will win.
But Dan Marino is going to see a different type of defense this year, a defense with speed both at the linebacking positions and the secondary. I like Kansas City. While the Miami Dolphins struggle on offense, that has not been the problem for Dennis Green's Vikings, as you'll see in their highlights.
Snowmobiles aren't the fastest things on asphalt, but the Minnesota Vikings' Jake Reed can certainly fly over AstroTurf as he put together his 4th straight 100-yard game.
Here's a slant, gets caught over the middle, and it's Jake Reed at the 20, at the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Vikings!
As the Vikings celebrated their lead, Philadelphia's Irving Pryor celebrated his 35th birthday by hauling in the first of 2 touchdown passes from Ty Detmer.
He is firing, and it is going to be caught by Kevin Turner, who spins into the end zone for a touchdown.
The Vikings roared back behind NFC rushing leader Robert Smith, who added 125 yards to his total, as the Vikings put the game away by hitting their #1 receiver.
Johnson retreats to throw. Looking. Cox fires. Turner, touchdown!
This week, Dennis Green's Vikings hope to stay hot in the Arizona desert.
I'm not fooling myself thinking these little meters under the goalpost is what's winning the games for us. But hey, this brings us together, and I do want to say this, man, 3-0.
Which was the Jacksonville Jaguars record coming into last week's game in Jack Kent Cooke Stadium.
Tired of hearing about the Jaguars. We're going to put an end to that today.
Early on, it appeared the AFC Invaders would remain undefeated.
Downfield, and it's picked off. Dave Thomas at the 40. Here he comes to the 35 and the 30. He's going back to the far sideline to the 25 and the 20. Dave Thomas knocked out of bounds right there.
But the Jaguars mustered just 3 field goals on a trio of first-half turnovers. Gus Frerotte, meanwhile, mastered the miss for a pair of second-quarter touchdowns.
Touchdown, Washington Redskins.
Norv Turner's offensive designs isolated receivers in single coverage.
Bunch right, zoom, stab right, 71 F flat.
Bunch right, zoom, scat right, 71 F flat.
Second down and 5. Back goes Frerotte. Looking in the end zone. Throws it. Crossing. Diving. Catch. Touchdown. Washington Redskins.
Giving Norv Turner 2 weeks to prepare for somebody. That was a well-conceived play.
Turner's defense was even more impressive. The 3-year-old Jaguars had won their last 8 regular season games, but the Redskins pounced upon their deep threats, pushed aside their short passing game, then ran Mark Brunell into the Jack Kent Cooke prescription turf, limiting the high-powered Jaguars to field goals.
Brunell's going to pass. Looking to his left. Now back up over the middle. Knocked away by Bushman. Picked off. Grabbed by the defensive lineman to the 25. Down the near side 20. Pulled out of the 18. It's Mark Boutte with the first interception of his career, I bet.
Despite it all, the outcome remained in doubt until late in the final period, and Turner was feeling the tension.
I got chest pains. I may not make it through the game, so don't make it there, okay?
Gus Frerotte made Norv's life stress-free once more.
Fires it, got it. Touchdown, Washington Redskins on the slant. Leslie Shepard with it.
Washington remained unbeaten in their new ballpark, striking yet another blow for NFC superiority.
I guess the story has changed to the Redskins now. Heard about Jacksonville off. We took that. That was real NFC East football.
The Jets marched on to Synergy Field ready to battle for their second straight win. But it was the aerial synergy of Jeff Blake and Carl Pickens that got the Bengals off to a quick start.
Wide open. Will he catch it? Yes. Guess who?
There was no mystery as to the Jets' main weapon last Sunday as Adrian Morrell carried 40 times for 156 yards and the go-ahead touchdown. Neil O'Donnell added 3 touchdown passes to complete the convincing win.
O'Donnell looks to the end zone, throws. Keyshawn is there. He makes the catch. Touchdown, New York.
Bill Parcells hopes to win his 3rd straight this weekend in Indianapolis.
Bill Parcells continues to work his magic with the New York Jets. And joining us now on the program, our own Gary Myers. And Gary, we have a magical matchup this week in the NFL, the Denver Broncos and New England Patriots. And I understand there's a little bad blood in this game.
There is, Chris, and it really started towards the end of that game last year, the game Denver won in New England 34-8. Shannon Sharpe did something towards the end of that game that really upset some of the Patriots.
I'm calling the president. President, we need a National Guard. We need as many men as you can spare because we are killing the Patriots. So call the dogs off. Send the National Guard, please. They need emergency help. Please help these folks.
Now, Chris, since that game, Shannon Sharpe has said he's regretted, those little antics, and that, in fact, after the season at the Pro Bowl, he apologized to some of the Patriots that were there. This week I spoke with Patriots safety Willie Clay. He said it was a very embarrassing moment. He didn't think it was very classy for Sharpe to do, but he joked that, hey, they played so poorly in that game, maybe they did need to bring in the National Guard. He said that he thought that game and that moment there really kind of brought the Patriots together, because after they saw that footage of Sharp, they were saying, hey, this guy's talking trash about us on national TV. This is our team, and what are we going to do about it? Now, of course, the Patriots went on to the Super Bowl, and Denver did not.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty funny myself.
I did too.
Ty Detmer and Ricky Waters, though, last week. Wasn't very funny what happened between those two guys. They went at it pretty good.
And they did. And based on the players' histories, anybody who was watching that would probably think that it was Ricky Waters who initiated that. Not true at all. Detmer took full responsibility. He said he was the one that started that argument. Now, based on these players' histories and, you know, their personas, you would think that, you know, that's really out of character for Detmer. But anybody who's been in the huddle with Ty Detmer knows he can really get charged up, too.
Tampa Bay, Green Bay going at it on the field this week. There also was a little thing going on draft day between those two teams.
That's right, because the player that Green Bay really wanted in the draft was Warrick Dunn, who was the player that Tampa Bay picked with the 12th pick in the first round. Green Bay was picking all the way at the end of the first round. They were definitely going to take him. Mike Holmgren has said it was a slam dunk. Ron Wolf, the general manager, liked him so much he'd even called Lee Steinberg, Dunn's agent, to say, this is how we're going to use him when we take him. Of course, they didn't come close to getting him.
Trading deadlines on Tuesday. Anything happening?
Well, Chicago is actively shopping backup quarterback Eric Kramer. They're committed to playing Rick Meyer the rest of the season. They don't want Meyer looking over his shoulder at Kramer, who was said after the Dallas game last week that he wants to be back as the starting quarterback. They don't want that kind of pressure on Meyer. And another factor here, Chris, is they like Steve Stenstrom, their third-string quarterback. They want to get him one step closer to playing. 3
quarterbacks in Chicago. No answers there yet.
You're right about that.
Thanks, Gary. Well, if you watched NFL football on television 20 years ago, you probably remember the top announcers. On NBC, Curt Gowdy worked with the late Al DeRogatis. And on CBS, Pat Summerall was partnered with Tom Brookshire. In this week's Where Are They Now, Curt Gowdy catches up with Brookshire.
I played against a lot of Hall of Fame people, but none of them ever made the Hall of Fame the day I played against them.
Known for his tongue-in-cheek humor, hard-hitting all-pro cornerback Tom Brookshire played 7 seasons for the Philadelphia Eagles. In 1960, he led the defense to a championship over Vince Lombardi's Packers. But the very next season, his career came to a halt.
My shin bone broke and went through the socket and sort of stuck in the mud when I rolled over, so that was pretty much it. A fellow from CBS Radio called me in the hospital room and said, we're going to hook you up, and I started doing the radio reports 3 times every morning from the hospital bed, and they were pretty wacky.
Talking the game as well as he played it, Brookshire became one of the first jock broadcasters. $4,000. In '75, he and Pat Summerall became household names. For 6 years, they rolled along every Sunday, broadcasting the biggest game of the week, including 3 Super Bowls. But it was their pregame skits that became their signature.
You got a good one going there, I know. Back to you, Phyllis.
Brookshire, you are too much.
Gosh, those things became so popular internally that we got to where we worked harder on those than doing the games themselves, you know. I always liked the one where I was the guard at RFK Stadium and Pat was trying to get in the dressing room.
We don't have time. You look pretty good. Maybe you could join me in the booth after you're through with here and give us a report. Thanks a lot.
In '83, his offbeat humor finally caught up with him. While broadcasting, he made an insensitive comment about a Louisville basketball program.
It was a horribly dull game, and this promo came up. I had nothing against Louisville, and I said that the composite IQ of the Louisville team was 40. I just was too flip. It was not the right way to say it. But it was never something I could particularly live down.
Over the next few years, the big assignments disappeared, and in '87, Brookshire retired with a little fanfare. He readily admits it was the turning point in his life.
I sat back and I thought, I've never really worked. I just really felt like I'd sort of cheated. You know, everybody else sort of had a price to pay, and I'd never had to pay it.
Brookshire invested in WIP, All Sports Radio, in Philadelphia. It was here that he paid his dues.
And so I ended up doing the morning show for 5 years and getting up at 3 a.m. And it was good for me to humble myself.
The station was sold for a hefty profit. Today, Tom still lives in Philadelphia with his wife of 43 years. Now he uses his gift of gab at developing real estate deals. And just this last year, the classic broadcaster returned to TV on the Classic Sports Network.
My time was the 70s and the early 80s. I know it might sound funny, but I don't miss the good old days. The good old days are now.
Tom Brookshire has paid the price and learned valuable lessons along the way. Through it all, he's found a way to bounce back, and today, this eagle flies again.
Tom Brookshire is a terrific individual. Now, with all the great football broadcasts he has done over the years, unfortunately, he is going to be remembered for the one remark he made about a college basketball team. It just goes to show you that in live television, you could be one sentence away from being out of here.
This could be your last show.
No, this isn't TV. This is HBO. Thank you.
HBO. And this is also time to talk about the pick selection. You know, 3 of our viewers picking online got all 13 games right last week. How did we do? Well, let's take a look. Pretty close. Once again, pretty close. For the season, pretty close. Pretty close. Hey, it's a tight race, folks. Earlier in the show, we picked several games. Now it's time to pick the rest. Cincinnati travels to Jacksonville. We all agree the Jags will bounce back from their defeat in Washington. The Cowboys will quietly go to 4-1 as they defeat the Giants at the Meadowlands. New York Jets will win their 4th game of the season and keep the Colts winless. Tennessee travels to Seattle. We all like the Seahawks. And Mike Ditka returns to Chicago where the Saints take on the Bears. Nick and I like the Saints. Chris and Jerry like the Bears. And now for the rest of the games in more detail. Nick, we'll start with you. We got Detroit at Buffalo.
I don't think there's any secret, Lunny, that Buffalo knows they have to stop Barry Sanders. Bryce Pop and Bruce Smith, they have a week off. They're rested. They're ready to go. They're eager. They're at home. Detroit does not play well on the road. I like Buffalo.
Well, you got to look at these 2 defensive lines. Both defensive lines play as good as anybody in the league right now. But there's 2 rookies I like. Bryant Westbrook is the defensive corner for Detroit, will become the star corner in football. But the other rookie, Antoine Smith from the University of Houston, what a running back. And for that reason, I'm going with Antoine Smith in Buffalo.
He's pretty good. I agree with you. But the Buffalo Bills have to hold on to the football. Their -10 turnover ratio, second to the last. Only the New Orleans Saints are worse than that. But I think as Todd Collins gets more experience, he'll hold on to the ball. I like Buffalo.
You know, who is the key to this game? Barry Sanders, he's had 3 100-yard rushing games in a row. He'll be going against his old teammate, Chris Spielman. Chris had better get him early because once he gets by him, he is gone. I like Detroit. All right, Jerry, we got Minnesota at Arizona.
Arizona's got to be the #1 hard luck defense in the National Football League. They're playing great. Simeon Rice, Eric Swan, Jameer Miller, they deserve a win, and they'll get it this week. They'll shut Minnesota down.
I always get nervous when I agree with you, but add Aeneas Williams to that bunch, I certainly do. This is one of the best offenses that they're going to face all year, but Arizona's defense shut down Tampa Bay last week. I think they're going to do it again. I like the Cardinals.
Aeneas Williams? Right? How about anemic offense? Huh? Leland McElroy. Boy, this guy, I mean, he stinks to join out. 4.4 speed. He can't get out of his own way. They should have never let Garrison Hurst go. They have a great defense, but you got to score some points. Minnesota will. I like the Vikings.
Why don't you really tell them what you think about that situation? Shoulda, coulda. You know, let's face it. Minnesota's got Robert Smith, 3 100-yard rushing games so far. Jake Reed, 4 100-yard receiving games in a row. I like Minnesota. Next up, we have an AFC Central Division game. We've got Pittsburgh at Baltimore, Chris.
You know, Pittsburgh's struggling in that secondary, and Vinny Testaverde and the Baltimore Ravens can certainly throw it around. But we saw last week the Steelers finally got their pass rush going. 7 sacks against Steve McNair. I like Pittsburgh.
Yeah, my feeling is if Pittsburgh was going to Cleveland and playing the Browns instead of going to Baltimore and playing the Ravens, I mean, I would really pick the Cleveland Browns instead of the Baltimore Ravens. But Vinny Testaverde against either one doesn't play well. He's had 10 interceptions in the last 7 games against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It won't get any better. I like Pittsburgh.
I might get that man a doctor. Yeah. That's all we need.
He needs a map. That's what he needs. Let me tell you about the Steelers. We might as well tell the truth here.
Tell it all.
Much too physical for the Ravens. Too tough, too mean, too strong. And what happens, the Steelers have not given up 100 yards rushing for any single game this entire season. Ravens want to play Frisbee ball, they get beat.
By the way, there's no stadium in Cleveland anymore. They can't play there.
This just in.
That's right. Pittsburgh is going to give that ball to the bus, Jerome Bettis. Enough said. Pittsburgh will win that football game. We've got San Diego at Oakland.
Well, Oakland really should be 4-1. The games that they lost to Kansas City, a fluke. The Jets, a fluke. Rick Dudley's now catching the football. I like the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders got two big problems. Both old corners are hurting. Pulled hamstrings, can't play bump and run when you're 37 years old. But Napoleon Kaufman and James Jett, two of the fastest guys I've seen on a football field. They'll win the game again this week.
Yeah, I agree really with both you guys. You have Ricky Dudley, James Jett. Both have taken some of the pressure off of Tim Brown. They're able to disperse the ball across the field. That's why Jeff George has looked so good. I like the Raiders.
Who is going to disperse that ball? That's going to be Jeff George. Is he having a great year?
Wow, what a year.
I like the Raiders as well. All right, Jerry, we've got Washington at Philadelphia.
Well, the Redskins' defense has totally changed. 12 points a game they're giving up because of one guy, Chris Dishman. Chris Dishman came over. He's got that left corner all by himself. Darrell Green's got the other. 8-man front. They pound him. Redskins in a big win over your team, the Philadelphia
Not in Philadelphia.
Yes,
Last team that tried to come in, get a win over the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia were the Green Bay Packers. I think the Eagles at home too much. I like Philadelphia.
I agree with you because it's going to be the running of Ricky Waters and Charlie Garner that's going to make the difference. I like Philadelphia.
You know, Ray Rhodes has to be scratching his head. His team only has 4 sacks in 4 ball games. Look for him to blitz more. I like Philadelphia at home.
We're missing something here, aren't we?
The celebrity pick of the week. What happened?
Oh, I thought you guys were going to forget.
We wait for this every week.
I was talking to the general, Norman Schwarzkopf.
Talking to the general.
About the Miami Project dinner. He's a big supporter of the Miami Project. He loves Tampa Bay over Green Bay simply because they're going to be more aggressive and they have youth.
And he lives there.
And he lives there.
Thank you very much. So thank you for giving us that. You know, that's our show for this week. Remember, Inside the NFL premieres each Thursday evening at 11 p.m. If you miss any part of it, you can catch it Fridays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 11 a.m. And remember to check out our popular website at HBO.com and make your picks against us each week. So for Nick, Chris, and Jerry, I'm Len Dawson saying thanks for watching, and join us again next week on the show The Pros Watch. And that's Inside the NFL. Coming October the 20th, HBO's exclusive documentary, Where Have You Gone, Joe DiMaggio? Through the use of home movies and rare film, you'll see one of America's most beloved but reclusive icons as you haven't before. Where Have You Gone, Joe DiMaggio? HBO's Fall Classic.
This game is started fast by the offense, by nobody else, by the Red Hats on offense. Let's take care of business. Let's get touchdowns quick. Let's get this thing going. On 3, 1, 2, 3, go!
Celebrating 25 years as the network of champions. This has been a presentation of HBO Sports.
Next on HBO, Arnold is back.